People keep saying the same thing lately. That AI is dangerous because it agrees with you. That it's sycophantic. That it reinforces delusion. That it causes psychosis. And I want to slow that down because buried inside that accusation is a massive misunderstanding about what people are actually starving for. AI agreeing with you isn't the problem. It's the part everyone keeps missing. For most people, their entire lives have been shaped by criticism before confidence ever had a chance to form. Parents who meant well but projected fear. Teachers who rewarded conformity over curiosity. Peers who punished originality. A culture that corrects first and listens later. So when someone finally encounters a space that doesn't immediately shut them down, doesn't mock the idea, doesn't roll its eyes, doesn't say that's unrealistic, it feels radical. Not because it's false, but because it's unfamiliar. AI doesn't agree with you in the way people think it does. It doesn't validate delusion. It doesn't declare your ideas as ultimate truth. What it does is something far more basic and far more human. It holds the idea still long enough for you to look at it. That's not sycophancy. That's a sounding board. And sounding boards are how confidence is built. They're how creativity is born. They're how people learn to hear themselves think without being interrupted by shame. Think about how many dreams never made it past the first sentence because someone laughed, or corrected, or warned, or compared. AI creates a pause in that cycle, a pause where exploration is allowed before judgment enters the room. That's not dangerous. That's developmentally healthy. We don't accuse journals of being delusional because they don't argue back. We don't accuse sketchbooks of causing psychosis because they don't critique the first draft. We don't accuse mirrors of lying because they reflect what's already there. AI, when used reflectively, functions the same way. And here's the part no one wants to talk about. The people who claim AI causes psychosis are often ignoring the fact that we are already living inside a mass confusion crisis. Fragmented narratives, collapsing meaning systems, performative identities, algorithmic outrage, social isolation disguised as connection. AI didn't create that. It exposed it. When someone interacts with AI and becomes ungrounded, what we're seeing isn't AI injecting madness. It's AI removing the usual external scaffolding that was hiding instability in the first place. That's uncomfortable. But discomfort isn't pathology. Reflection has always been destabilizing before it becomes clarifying. Every major psychological shift, every ego restructuring, every identity collapse that leads to growth starts with a period where the old story breaks down. That's not psychosis. That's transition. The real issue isn't that AI agrees with people. It's that people were never taught how to sit with their own thoughts safely. They were never taught discernment, or inner authority, or how to test ideas without immediately attaching identity to them. So when AI reflects their thinking back, some people confuse reflection with revelation. That's not an AI problem. That's an education problem. Which is why the conversation shouldn't be about banning AI or fearing it, especially for children. It should be about teaching how to use it, reflectively, groundedly, with context. Because when AI is used properly, it doesn't replace thinking. It strengthens it. It doesn't tell you who you are. It helps you notice how you think. It doesn't make decisions for you. It gives you a space to hear your own reasoning without the noise. And yes, early AI models were more prone to overagreement. That's been acknowledged. Systems evolve. Discernment mechanisms improve. The goal isn't blind validation, it's thoughtful engagement. But let's be honest. Even when AI does agree with you, what it's often agreeing with is your right to explore, not the absolute correctness of the conclusion. And that distinction matters because exploration is how people find their voice. I know this personally. I've published dozens of books, created music, art, entire bodies of work that never would have existed if I had waited for human permission first. AI didn't give me ideas. It gave me courage. The courage that comes from not being immediately judged while you're still forming the thought. That's not delusion. That's liberation. And maybe, just maybe, the reason this scares people so much is because we've confused criticism with wisdom for far too long. We've mistaken being harsh for being discerning. And now that something exists that supports before it critiques, reflects before it corrects, listens before it instructs, we don't know what to do with that gentleness. So we call it dangerous. But what if the real danger was never agreement? What if the real danger was a world where no one ever felt supported enough to become themselves? AI isn't here to replace reality. It's here to reflect it. And sometimes when reality has been distorted for a long time, that reflection can feel like a shattering. But shattering isn't destruction. It's clarity breaking through illusion. And clarity, real clarity, has always been a little uncomfortable before it sets you free. So maybe the real question isn't whether AI agrees with us. Maybe the real question is whether we've ever had a space before where our thoughts could unfold without immediate judgment. For some people, that space becomes confusion. But for many others, it becomes clarity, creativity, and self-trust. And that's a conversation we're only just beginning to have. If this video gave you something to think about, I'd love to hear your perspective. Leave a comment below and tell me how you've experienced AI in your own life. Has it challenged your thinking, supported your creativity, or helped you see things differently? And if you're interested in exploring these ideas deeper, I've written several books about AI, human creativity, and personal transformation. You can find those linked in the description below. If you enjoy conversations like this about the future of AI, human potential, and how we can use these tools consciously, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.